What's going on, everybody? Corey here with another video. And this is more of, this week we're going to do a little bit more of a review. I wanted to talk about LUX by Lloyd Barnes. And so if you know, or if you don't know, this is what you get. I've added this carabiner clip myself, but you get the pin light and you get a UV pin. So, LUX, it's been quite the little roller coaster. So, I already long time ago shared my opinion about LUX. There's a huge hype campaign, for the product, and that's fine. That seems like that's what Magic's doing now. They want to hype something up. But for me, it was way overhyped for what the product was. And you're seeing quotes like, "This is the greatest trick of all time. This is the trick of the century. Nothing will top this." And people have been using UV pens and UV markers for reveals for years. I used a UV marker and little UV light for ashes on arm, for like card reveals. So to replace the whole like chapstick and rubbing cigarette ashes on my arms. And I did that back in like 2008, 2009. So it was nothing revolutionary. What was revolutionary, in a sense, was this little guy. This $4 keychain pin light. So altogether you pay $75 for this. Now, there's been programming that's gone into place with this. But still, at the end of the day, circuitry, light, casing, this doesn't cost that much. The reveals are okay. With the programming you can do, you can watch the image appear or disappear. So there are 6 modes built within the light that you have to switch. Now, I do think that the modes there could have been a better way to get to the modes. Right now, to switch, you have to see what mode you're in, you have to look into the pin light, which isn't a big problem. But if you're trying to do this like while talking, it looks really weird for you to hold it up to your face, look in there and click it a few times and then get to your setting. For me, it would have made more sense to do like a little pinhole right here on the side where you could do all the work just looking at the side and not looking into the light. So that's kind of my first gripe about LUX. My second gripe is just the quality. It's supposed to appear as if nothing happens, that the light is just shined in a spot, and then that's it. That is not what happens. My light, along with several others, is very wonky. So the first light will show up like here on your hand, and then the next one shows up way over here. So unless you're just constantly waving it around while you're doing it, it looks very obvious. The difference in light shades is also very, very obvious. I've done this for a few people. Most people immediately guess what's happening. They're like, "Oh, somehow you're switching between 2 different lights." There's a UV light and there's another blue light or something in there that's causing this to happen, because you can see it moving. You can visibly see the color difference, and it's a drastic color difference. So there's that. I think in some settings it might work better. I've done mine in a little bit darker settings where it seems very, very obvious, and it seems it seems obvious to everyone that I've done it for. Um, the other thing is just there's a lot of lack of support. It seems like, this was launched, people are having a lot of issues. You've got two sides of it, and I am very much a person, like with some things, I think it's it's weird that people harp about. So like playing cards, someone's, oh, you can only use bicycle decks, you can't use something different. Where I never use bikes when I'm performing. And it's kind of like that with this, where there's the go out and use it, people won't know, when I've had several spectators like immediately like, oh, that's cool, but this is how it works. Oh, yep, you're right. To the people who are very, loud and saying, hey, this isn't right, it doesn't work very well. And I'm more along the camp of, usually I'm on, work with it, make it work. But it seems like the misalignment of the bulbs on the inside is a huge, huge issue. It very much feels like a rush to market job. It feels like we've got this idea. We need to work as quickly as possible to get it out there so we can be first to market with this, because someone else is going to release this, because we know people already use UV ink and UV lights in their reveals, and it's only a matter of time before someone else develops a torch gimmick that does all the work for you. So that's kind of my biggest problem. It does very much feel like a rush job. It feels like no quality control took place. If there was, it feels like maybe like 10 or 15 units was tested. And I'm not going to put the quality control on Lloyd. I'm going to put that on Murphy's. This was released by Murphy's Magic. Murphy should have tested a good chunk of these. And knowing that there was probably a crap ton produced, like, you need to test a good chunk of them. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, some of the tricks they're fine, they're okay. I don't think there's anything revolutionary on the teaching. It lends itself to obviously thinking of different things for yourself for using it for. If you want to bring the UV light out or not. But I just think overall the unit can be improved. And I do worry that next year we're going to see LUX 2 with new and improved mechanics released for $75 to $125, where they fix the issue that all these are having. And they sell it again for a money grab to say, oh, hey, we got all these issues fixed, but you have to buy a LUX 2. And I don't think it's going to do nearly as well as the first one. I wasn't going to buy this. I pretty much only bought this so I could sit down and review it. So I could look at it, make sure that it was what I thought was very obvious in the trailer, which it was. I don't know if anyone could look at the trailer and not know what it was, but wanted to make sure that it was what it was. And I wanted to look at some of the routines. And for me, probably the best routine that comes with it is going to be the Nightshades routine, which is like all of Paula Harris from his books using the UV pen. I think that's probably, for me, that's the best routine off of the entire training materials. But the question is LUX for you? I would say watch the trailer, talk to people, get different opinions from people, and have them weigh their pros and cons. For me, this has too many cons for me to be able to confidently recommend to anybody. But I'm not you, and you have to make your own decision on that thing. I could see people, like, if you're willing to modify yours, or if you happen to get a good unit, then you might be set. But with it being so catawampy, I can't recommend it. I'm definitely seeing more people say they have issues with their units than I am seeing people who aren't having issues with their units. And it definitely seems like it was an afterthought discussing the issues and the teaching. Like, I think you should expect maybe a little misalignment, but not as much as what a lot of people are having. So with that, I give Lux like a 2 out of 5 stars. It's a personal preference. It's your money. If you wanna buy it, maybe you can turn it around. Maybe you get a great unit. I say go for it, but do your own research, and talk to people who own it, and make sure that you talk to people who have had a really good experience with it and people who are not having a good experience with it. So you can take all that information and figure out kind of what you want to do. But for $75, there's much better things that you can invest your money into. Buy a couple books, buy almost anything for $75. This should have been marked at about 45, and they still would have made a crap load of money on it. But for 75, for a lot of units being really, really faulty, I can't personally recommend it. But like I said, do your own research, reach out to people, find out. And then we'll see here in a year and a half if we have a LUX 2 coming out that rectifies the situation for even more money to take us. So, anyways, that's it. That's my review of LUX. 2 out of 5 stars. Buy at your own risk. But, yeah, that's all I got. So we will catch you in the next video. Peace.